Shalom and welcome everybody. Good to see you all. I'm Justin James Garcia and this is
Zen Garcia.
So this is our weekly summary. We're just gonna hang out for a little bit and go over all the things that we went through the past week. I know we actually weren't able to make it last week either. Eliana and I ended up going out and we weren't able to make it over to Grandpa's house. She was supposed to be here for her 11-month update today, but she's taking a nap right now. So unfortunately, we're not going to be able to show her off and show you all the awesome ways that she's grown. But if you do want to see that, you can go over to Joy's Facebook at Joy U Garcia, Joyyoo Garcia, and you can see the 11-month update over there. It's been an awesome time watching her develop. She's like so ready to walk. She just doesn't have the confidence yet to like let go and walk on her own. But if she's holding on to even your pinky finger, she'll walk with you. And she's so beautiful and having a little bit of sleep regression. She's sleeping a lot less now and waking up a lot more. We have raised her to be an independent sleeper, so she's been sleeping in her own room for 5-6 months now, and now she's actually not liking it. She keeps waking up, and the only way to really calm her down is to give her a hug and to be there with her. So I guess that's pretty normal. So we try to be there with her, but we still want to encourage her to be an independent sleeper. So what we do is kind of like lay her down in her little bassinet, and I like lean over and just put my like face in her stomach and like rub her hair, until she falls back asleep. And then there's so much to learn about being a parent. It's pretty crazy. So thankfully I have an amazing wife that studies all types of different methods and techniques of how to raise an awesome, independent, but very loved young woman. And it's definitely an awesome journey. So I encourage you to go check out the pictures from that update. But moving on to Sacred Word Publishing and the Zen Garcia YouTube channel. This week we had some really great shows. My dad and I did finish off our series on Revelation. We got through the final 2 chapters, and that was an awesome series. We had a ton of great discussion and a lot of great revelations. And so Wednesday night, actually, to start off the week, my dad did a show on the Clementine homilies. A ton of people really enjoyed that, and it seems like there's a growing interest. A lot of people, of course, probably never heard of these, but really interesting. So would you like to bring forth anything from the show?
Yeah, even though I felt like I covered a lot of material, the book is extensive, and there's 20 huge homilies, very short chapters that cover a lot of detail on the fall and the rebellion of the angels and how the giants had come forth from that, which is one of those things that is still largely kept secret in the mainstream churches. Certainly they're not speaking about this aspect of the scripture, and it is very important because it shows you the origins of evil and also of the mythology of the pagan world and to the pantheon of who they celebrate in worship as their gods and goddesses, and why it is that these deities are not true gods, but they are, tied to the rebellion of the angels, the insurgency that led to the war in heaven, their being cast out, banished here to the earth, and then also the demigods, the part heavenly, ethereal, and earthly beings that because they are not a natural creation, they do not have portion in salvation. And because of that, they are legion. They're the enemies of God and humanity. And this is something very important to understand, because even in Revelation 12, it tells us that the dragon deceiveth the whole world, even in this time, even in this age, and the Antichrist, all of that, the false beast kingdom, it's connected to this deception, the strong delusion of what I believe that the ancient aliens stating and also making known to the world that they are our creators, which is, of course, is a lie. Um, and so, the perspectives that are found in this book are very important to understand. And they give you unique insight in that it comes from, Peter, he was the rock of the church, the foundation upon which the Most High and the Messiah stated that the ecclesia would be established. And so, very important as far as his opinions and the wanderings and with the work that he did with Clement. And again, it's something that most people don't know about. And so we're glad, thankful to Joy that she did the work of bringing forth this information for all of you so that you can read and consider the information.
Yeah, just something that brings me back to last night with the Digital Readers Club. We were talking about just how difficult it is to assimilate with people out in the real world. To have a conversation with someone and just talking about this is like something very important to understand, right? That at the very high, there's wickedness in high places. There's a very real evil and control. In authority in this world, and when you bring that forth, like you said, the churches don't teach that, of course. They teach, if anything, submission to those authorities, and,
the idolatry,
and really supporting them, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, so makes you a conspiracy theorist right off the bat,
right?
But for everyone that did join and who is enjoying that study, I think that it has been very fruitful, and appreciate everyone for coming and hanging out during those shows, and Dad and Joy for bringing that forth so everyone could study it. Moving on to Thursday, we did finish off our Revelation study. We finished up Revelation chapters 21 and 22, which went through post-millennial age. We also touched a lot on Revelation chapter 20 as well, kind of finishing up from the previous study. But the whole book of Revelation, I think we've ended up with like 30-something hours worth of study. So, that's a lot of content. Totally encourage you, if you do have time, like there's a playlist. You can go here at youtube.com/Garcia and just bookmark that playlist and save it and go through that, because there's so much fruitful revelation, not only from us, but you can follow through with the live chat as well. And everyone is constantly bringing forth a lot of encouragement and support, and also counter perspectives, which is always important to consider, because as always, we never proclaim to know everything, not at all. We're just studying with you all, and that's what makes these shows so much fun, is that it's really a community effort, right? Like we're reading, we're discussing, we're the ones whose voice you hear through the speakers, but really you can read in the chat. There's so many very, very studied individuals that are just hanging out, and it's a community. And speaking of community, I love the Digital Readers Club, because that is the one show in the week that we're actually able to join with other people and speak with other people. That's my favorite part, is everyone is able to join in the Discord server. Everyone who can plugs in their mic, and we can all discourse together, read together, study together. So before we talk about that, did you want to bring anything forth from the Revelation study?
Other than we are deciding possibly to do the protocols of the Learned Elders of Zion as a follow-up to this information, a little bit of a difference as far as perspective, but very important as well. And it's something that I don't believe a lot of people have taken the time to study. So I think a lot of people would benefit from it, especially since it is the blueprint for bringing on global domination, global in quotes, and it's prophetic in that, even though many people believe it to be hearsay, that it follows the protocols that were laid out in those manuscripts and takes us to where we are in this day and age. And so I think it would be very relevant. And so, we're excited to do that. But yes, the Revelation study was awesome. I'm so glad to have done that with Justin, and I think a lot of people benefited from it because it is specific to the end times and to the fig tree generation. And I look forward to, at some point, making that a book as well to share some of our studies, and hopefully that will also be a benefit.
Definitely, it was a great study. And yeah, moving on to last night, we had our Digital Readers Club study, and we are reading through the book of Judith now. I think this is the fourth book that is in the 1611 King James Apocrypha, is what they call it. There's 14 books that were originally included in our canonized Bible that was taken out. So now we're just reading through them together as a family and as a truth-seeking community, and it was a really cool read. I really like it. It's a really descriptive narrative, clearly like a historical account, right?
Yes.
And you kind of see what's getting ready to happen with Nebuchadnezzar and his, what he calls the punishment of the Israelites. So it's going to be a really interesting read, and we have about 2 more weeks left. So if you missed last week or yesterday, 2 weeks ago we just covered 1 chapter as we finished off the book of Tobit. So that 1 chapter was over there on our last part of our study through Tobit, and then we finished chapters 2 through 8 last night, and we're going to be continuing on. We read normally like 12-13 pages of text every study, and then we finish off with discussion. The discussion is always very fruitful. Definitely appreciate everybody. I love hearing all the different voices. That's my favorite part, just hearing the love that is in everyone's voice, the sincerity, just knowing that there really is family out there that isn't just going to call you crazy and dumb for wanting to read these types of books like the Clementine homilies and
right.
even Genesis chapter 6. You know, people always look at you like you're crazy, but this is a really cool text because, like you said, it's historical. It covers the war, but you're getting a real insight and perspective into some of the historic characters of Israel, and even some of the rebellions from Nebuchadnezzar's side.
Yes.
You know, that was really cool. So, anything you wanted to bring forth from that study?
No, just other that, like the Apocryphal Maccabee books that we'll go into at some point as well. The historical information is invaluable, and I think it's for myself especially, I love studying those kind of texts to learn more about what happened in the past.
Yeah, it makes no sense why some of these were taken out of the canonized scripture. I really don't know. I know there's been a war for 2,000 years and longer to remove text from the scriptures.
Yeah.
So I guess that's just part of what it is. And now we're left with the whole 66 book canon.
Yeah.
But there's so much to read, and that's why I love the DRC as well, the Digital Readers Club. We've studied so much, the Aramaic Targum, the Infancy Gospels,
the Great Commission,
the whole series of the Great Commissions,
Testaments
the
of
End
the
Times,
Patriarchs,
the
the
Apocalypse,
Prophets,
the
all the
Testaments
Edenic
of the Patriarchs,
books,
the forgotten Edenic books, the primary Adamic literature.
It's been awesome.
It's been the Kebra Nagast even.
Yes,
we went through so much, and
Right.
so now we're at the 1611 KJV Apocrypha, and
Which is awesome.
yeah,
too.
it's been awesome so far. So definitely encourage you, if you don't know yet, you can join every Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and right here for the live stream. And you can also join us over on the Discord server. If you go to any one of those videos, there's plenty of links down there on how you can get involved and actually participate. We would love to see more participation. Other than that, a little update on the book that I'm working on. I'm working on the 3rd book in the Prophecy for Children series, and this one is I think I'm going to call it Enoch's Judgment of the Giants, and it's pretty cool. It goes through the Genesis 6, Enoch 6 perspective of the angels coming down, mating with the daughters of human, giving birth to giants, and how giants destroy the world, and then God's judgment, the Most High's judgment, that he tells Enoch that the world's going to be flooded. And so telling that story to children is pretty tough, but I think that it does a pretty surface level job at getting the real the important bits and pieces out of that for the children to kind of understand that, oh, there are rebellious angels that came to the earth that, you know, gave birth to giants, and that giants really they were bad for the earth. And Enoch and Eliah, who is the little boy that is in the book that follows Enoch around, they're hiding from this giant that is roaming around outside their cave, and they're hiding in there. And Eliah is asking him, like, you know, where did the giant come from? And like, well, why does God let this happen? And, you know, what's going to happen to them? How are we going to, you know, what's going to happen to us? Like, they're destroying everything. And then he gets a vision of the flood, and that's actually going to be the cover photo, is the whole flood.
That'll be awesome.
Enoch and Elias standing on a rock and then seeing the flood out. So I think that it's going to be a really cool third part of the Prophecy for Children series, and I'm looking forward to getting that out to everyone. I got all the pictures finally done. That's been a long process, working with multiple artists to get that done. But now just finalizing the text and getting that put on the pages and getting the formatting done properly, and then it should be ready. So any update on your books?
Yes, I've been working, and I've decided to remove some, just a little bit, where I don't want to repeat, but I have decided to dedicate this book to Rob Skiba and his journey as being a warrior of truth, and also how he, at the time before his passing, also came out and shared and took a public stance on this information. And that article will be part of the book, as is an article by Noel, myself, and then a lot of material that I had written and released previously about this topic, which was not enough for a book, but which I did, you know, present and make known to the public at that time. So all of that will be, and that's what I'm working on now, to compile and complete. And I'm already in the proofreading process, but in doing that, I'm always wanting to add more, and I have to learn not to do that, because it's already too much, I think. And so, but I want to get everything that I can in there that would be relevant for this topic. So it's a fine line, you know, deciding when to abandon it.
Yeah, it's the mind of a poet, right?
Right.
Every time you read your poem, you can change something.
Change something.
You can, but sometimes you don't need to, because you got all the points there. But yeah, definitely that's a tough part to finally just seal it and ship it.
Let
right?
it go,
So
yes.
it's awesome. Looking forward to that. Last update from the Endeavor Freedom Orphanage. We had our inauguration for the orphanage. Thank you so much for the super chat. I can't see on the screen exactly who it's from or what it's for, but thank you so much, everyone, for your support.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this community is such a blessing. And so yeah, the update from the Endeavor Freedom Orphanage. We had our inauguration in the city. Brother Nalgong invited, it was 120 or 140 families from all the surrounding villages there.
Awesome.
It's basically every family in the outskirts there, and they had a huge service, a huge dedication, and a huge proclamation of the gospel and their mission there. And it was awesome. You can go over to facebook.com/EndeavorFreedomInc. Definitely encourage you, if you haven't done so already, bookmark that page. You don't even need a Facebook account. You can just see the photos over there of the impact that your support over here makes around the world. And if you didn't know, 10% of all proceeds from Sacred Word Publishing goes to the orphanages in India, in Myanmar, Kenya, and Uganda. And they're always posting updates, awesome things going on at all of those orphanages. Of course, we are working on sustainability projects is our second focus, or I would say our third focus. First focus, spreading the gospel, making the gospel sealed in the hearts of the youth so that they can grow up with that foundation and really spread fruit throughout the lands that they're in, as they're all persecuted in different ways depending on which country they're in.
Yeah.
And then secondly, of course, making sure the children have food, have water, have shelter. And then third, that the sustainability, growing that sustainability is so important, because we are, constantly funneling funds into these orphanages, and you see the growth because of the funds that are getting funneled. But eventually, we want to be able to grow even more in other places, right? So these places have to become self-sustainable, and that is a blessing that we just are now realizing over in Myanmar. We had a brother that actually studied at a university or something like that, sustainability and farming and agriculture, and he's decided to go and stay with the orphanage and teach them all the things that he had learned. So I'm really looking forward to seeing all the projects that they are growing. And yeah, like I said, facebook.com/EndeavorFreedomInc. You can follow along all those journeys over there. And we really love you all. I really appreciate you. And as we mentioned in the last weekly summary, we are always looking to help the community as well. If you know, if you can verify, someone that you really know, not just a random Facebook account, nothing like that, like someone that you know that really needs help, please reach out to us, let us know. We would love to help other people as well. We do have a fund for widows and orphans on the state side as well, and we would love to be able to support those individuals as well over here. So if you also know of any great organizations in the States, we would like to also give to them as well. The people here I know struggle not as much, I would say, as over in the third world countries, but we know that there is a lot of suffering and a lot of need here as well. So please do share. We love you all so much, and thank you for your love, your support, and for being part of this community and family.
Shalom.